Get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to a viewer replay, and this is sort of a novelty replay, I'm going to call it that. This is actually from Ginge, and if you've ever watched the stream at all, you'll know who Ginge is. He's actually in Cirque 2, and he's with another pair of Cirque 2 people, Oddball and Jammy Shammy. They're all in artillery, and that's part of the reason why this is a novelty replay. I, of course, would never play in an artillery platoon. I would never do something so reprehensible, and obviously I've had some stern words with all three of these people, and you know, I've warned them if I catch them at it again, I'll throw them out Cirque 2, and yeah. Anyway, Ginge and Jammy are both in the S-51, and that is actually unique as far as artilleries go. I'm not going to turn this into a discussion on artillery because I've already done a video where I specifically had a discussion about artillery, and it did generate some interesting responses. But the reason the S-51 is unique is that it's one of the few tanks that you can research from another line. For most of the tech trees, there are 4 other tech trees where that's possible apart from the Russians, they all go from light tanks. The S-51 goes from a heavy tank, the KV-2, and it's also the only one where you can only get the artillery by researching it that way. In every other case where there is a link from the light tank line to the artillery line, it's the normal artillery line, and you can just research up the artillery line and get that artillery via, you know, that other route. The S-51, you can only get it through the KV-2, and you actually start off with basically the KV-2's gun, and after that you get a ridiculous 203mm gun, which is basically a tier 9 artillery gun. It's just about a tier 9 artillery gun, but it has worse handling, worse accuracy, worse aim time, worse, you know, everything. It's still ridiculous though, and you know, even Circon has one of these, and I think mainly because it does come off the KV-2, and you've bought that KV-2, you've elited it, and you think, okay, this thing is, you know, I might as well give it a go, or at least that's what I was thinking when I bought mine recently. So I hesitated about it for so long, but no, I did finally give in, because my KV-2's been sat there elited for a very long time now. And artillery with a KV-2 gun is actually not that great. It's got a worse, well, it's got worse everything than the KV-2, apart from the fact that it can fire across the map in a way that the KV-2 just can't. Anyway, 2 shots, 1400 damage. There's not that many tanks that can do that at tier 7. The Su-152 against certain selected, very weakly armoured targets can do that. And of course on tier 8 there's stuff like the ISU. In fact, there pretty much just is the ISU, but also other parties. Oh, look, Ginge just inadvertently, in air quotes, parked up against the building. You're a bit early in the match for that, Ginge. That's something that you save for later on. So he's just looking for targets, and we're actually going to fast forward this bit, because the first bit of the match is not that interesting, to be honest. It's just standard artillery play. You get to see some of what the S-51 does. The 203mm, you know, it's got a fairly big splash. It's not very accurate, but when it hits, it can hit fairly hard. I think it can do up to 1800 damage if it penetrates with HE. And you can see there, he's had 2 shots that didn't pen and still did 700 odd per shot. Now he's going to take out that low health T28, which I don't know, I might have held fire on that, because it doesn't get much ammunition, this, but there's the enemy artillery, which nails the E50, so okay, never mind. I might have saved my, you know, but on the other hand, it's very easy to, with the benefit of hindsight, having seen this replay through and seeing how it goes, it's very easy to say, oh, I would have saved that shell. And that one there, he just takes a wildly optimistic blind shot at where he thought the artillery might vaguely be. And again, hugging the building. Ginge, you've been playing a lot of artillery, aren't you? Clearly your, or haven't you, rather, your instincts to, you know, go and park up against buildings and pull the trigger are clearly very strongly ingrained. So he's trying to support the 1-2-3 line. This is kind of an odd match. I mean, there's 3 artillery per team. I don't think the enemy artillery are... No, they're not actually platooned up. It's like, I don't know, it was a real war of attrition, this one. Both sides were just getting absolutely worn down and obliterated, and just both flanks. I mean, we've got two mediums, the Centurion versus the T-54 on one flank. We've got two tier 8s and two tier 9 TDs against each other on this flank. That's very symmetrical. But the Waffle doesn't have much armour, and he's not really in a position where he can be artillery safe. And that's a problem with artillery generally, is that on some maps and some situations there is just physically no way to be artillery safe, and you just have to trust to RNGs. Now, they know there's a T-54 coming at them because the Centurion died, the T-34 died, but the KV-4 also died, so we've now got two tank destroyers versus two mediums. One of the tank destroyers isn't very, he's not looking very healthy right now. Oh, and the GW Panther just nailed that guy. Oddball gets the Centurion, so now it's T-54 and the Waffle's just died, so now it's just the T-54. And they are alone. They're going to have to defend themselves. Now, Oddball, you can see how fast, well, we'll actually put that back to normal speed, but even so, the French artilleries at the higher tiers, actually, they're quite nippy machines. And I think it's, the French tree is one where you can actually jump from, and there we go, shotgun mode, and they're going to have to go shotgun mode now. This is the novelty ending, by the way, 3 artillery versus 3 artillery. Oddball took a hit there, but he's still alive, and Ginge had a bit of a near miss. Jammy had an even more near miss. The French tree, you actually jump from the AMX-12T. You can research your way onto the artillery line from that, and I think from the kind of tier 6 upwards, they tend to be more mobile machines. They have that kind of lower alpha, but they are a bit more accurate, have a bit better reload time, and they are generally faster than other tiers, other arties for their tier, especially at the tier 9 and 10. You have the Batchat chassis with the artillery casement sitting on top, so they have that. So Oddball is actually their, air quotes, scout right now. Jammy's staying put to provide kind of overwatch, and Ginge is getting a bit closer to the action as well, but he's not. If something gets spotted right now, he's not in the best place to then switch to RTV and actually do something about it. But hopefully, I mean, this is all going to be, it's either going to come down to they take each other out in RT mode, Oddball does the spotting and they take each other out, or it's going to be kind of, shotgun mode to the face. Ginge, Oddball and Jammy have got a serious advantage here in that they are platooned and they are using voice comms and they are talking, communicating and coordinating. The enemy artillery are not. And we see there's actually 2 of the 3 there. And Ginge is just looking for a shot. That aim time. The other guy fires and misses. Not sure if that was at Ginge, but Ginge fires and gets the guy, so that's fine. He's down to now 3 shells. Oddball gets the... not Oddball, Jammy. Jammy gets the other guy. And we are now just left with the tier 9, who obliterates that house. If that had landed much closer, that could have, really nuked Ginge. Because the tier 9 American arty is actually regarded by some, as far as I know, as being better than the T-92, which is this, massive orbital doom cannon. But the M53-55 has got still a seriously painful gun, but it's also got a kind of rotating casement structure, so it needs to turn its tank less. It's not quite the fully rotating turret that the Batchat arties get, of course, but it still gives you some extra degree of flexibility. That I mean, the S-51s, you can see how narrow that firing arc is. You have to constantly turn this gun, and that's one of the... I mean, you would look at the gun and the top gun, and you would say that's horribly imbalanced, and it kind of is for a tier 7. One of these things, when it hits, it can just obliterate. It really can. But there are offsets to that, and the offsets are the really, really narrow gun traverse. The fact that you're having to constantly turn, the fact that it's not accurate, that it's got a long aim time, that it's got a long reload time. So Oddball goes for the cap, and Ginge misses that shot. Oddball's basically acting as bait at this stage, and the other 2 are just trying to maybe hit the guy. Oddball goes in for a scout. I mean, we know where he was. There's no point just sitting on the cap again. They actually want the kill. I mean, time's ticking down a bit here, but they do want the kill rather than just to cap. And if they can get this guy, you know, 3 RT versus 3. I don't think it exactly was a fair fight. I mean, it was 2 tier 7s and a tier 8 RT versus a tier 7, 8 and 9 RT. But, like I said, they were platooned and they had that communication thing. Unfortunately, he goes shotgun mode and takes out Oddball, who was, you know, we know he was low health, so it may not have even been a hit. Ginge, I think he could have aimed a bit better there, but it fell short regardless. It wasn't even like it fell dead on where he was aiming. It actually fell short regardless. So it's now 2 versus 1. We've got to draw this guy out again. We've got to know where he is, and I don't know if they are having that in mind or if they're just thinking, right, no, time is running out. But they start heading for the cap at this point. They're going to make a move. Ginger's down to his last shell. I think Jammy must be fairly low on ammunition as well, because it doesn't carry much. That's another offset of this thing. It really doesn't carry much ammunition. So either the enemy artillery is going to concede defeat and they're just going to cap, or he's going to be really ballsy and he's going to come in and he's going to try and go shotgun mode on them again, because he's already taken out Oddball, so maybe he'll do it. You never know. If Jammy and Ginge sat right next to each other, the guy could even get a Bombardier medal, but I don't think that's going to happen, because they're not that daft. So Ginge is cowering behind a house. Like I said, you know, he's just, all through this battle, he's just been... He clearly plays a lot of artillery, a lot more artillery than he would care to admit, because his instincts are to go and hug a house and just, you know, wait for the opportune moment to pull the trigger. But nope, there he is. The M53-55 comes in and fires and misses. He didn't really have long to aim. And he knows at this point that, like, Ginger's actually gone out the cap, and there is, like, just enough time. Ginge fires and misses. He doesn't have any shells left now. This M53-55, he just doesn't care. Look at this. I don't know how much ammo he's got. He might be out as well. But he's just like, screw it. Ramming speed. He just goes straight for Jammy. Jammy manoeuvres into his way, and there we go. The last kill is a ram kill with 26 seconds on the clock. So, yeah. This was not a... I want to say this wasn't a tremendously entertaining replay, not in the same way as, say, an adrenaline-inducing medium tank replay or a heavy tank replay where you're fending off, you know, half a dozen enemies at once. It is, like I said, a novelty, and I don't know, if it weren't for this result and if it weren't for that ending, I don't think I would have showed it, even if it was from Circlings, even if it was from Ginge. The actual results, I mean, Jammy there got a kamikaze medal because that guy rammed himself. I don't know if he was just going for decap points or if he was just at that point just like, screw it, I'm just gonna, you know, ramming speed, I must ram something. I don't know. But he gave Jammy a nice medal, and Jammy actually did a fair amount of damage there anyway. 4 kills, 2800 damage. I'm sure you could do more with this gun, but RN Jesus would have to be really with you, because it is just so inaccurate and you have to turn so often, which is just fantastic when you're in an artillery. But I guess the offset of that is that you've got that massive troll cannon. The rest of the team, there are some decent players. There was a VKB who, he must have had some spotting damage. Yeah, 2600 spotting damage. No, 2700 spotting damage, because he only did 1600 actual damage. Oddball did 2600. Ginge was clearly slacking there. He only did 1800 damage. The Waffenträger did nearly 3600 damage and really didn't get a score that kind of reflected that. But maybe he had all his spotting, like maybe someone got a lot of that as spotting damage, and that kind of, you know, took from his score. The rest of the team, really not much to talk about. It's all less than 1k apart from one of the T-34s. On the enemy team, we have a T-54 at the top, which is not that surprising. An Object 704, which has got nearly the same damage, and the enemy M53-55 did actually more damage than any of our RT players, but he has got the tier 9. You know, he's a proper tier 9 gun. He's got, I'll actually have to look up how big that thing is, but it's a big gun. It's big, and there were some good players on the enemy team as well. But it's just that combination of circumstances. It's just that once they were successfully able to defend themselves against that T-54, it then came down to 3 arty versus 3 arty. At that point, I think things were in their favour just from being in a platoon. But they might still have lost it. I don't know. Maybe. That feels like a possibility. But yeah, it was a novelty, and I don't know. I don't put up many artillery replays. There has to be something special about them for me to actually want to, put them on the channel, and this met that criteria in this instance. So hopefully you guys agree with me, and if you do, that smooth transition, you can hit the like button, you can leave comments below, you can subscribe to my channel, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.